If the social media algorithm is always showing you beauty videos and beauty ads, then there's a very good chance you've seen one of these on your feed. This is a Subtl stack from the brand Subtl Beauty, and in theory, if you're strategic enough, this could be your entire makeup collection. Or can it? This brand and product is all about taking a minimalistic approach to your makeup routine, making it more approachable and streamlined. So I had to know, is this genius or is it a gimmick? I've been testing this over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, so today I'm gonna be putting the products on my face, showing you how it works, as well as sharing my review. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name is Miranda. Welcome to my channel where we talk all things budget beauty. If that sounds interesting to you, then become the newest member of the Slashed Squad by hitting subscribe and the bell icon. So first, let's go over how you create your own stack, because this is very customizable, but there are also options for you to buy a pre-designed stack. Each pot of makeup ranges from $14 to $18, and with each one, you get a free mirror lid. So even if you only want one little thing, you can still stack it and close it, because it really does just come looking like this, where it's just like an open pan of makeup, as well as a brush base. So you can see how all of these little pans of makeup interlock with one another to create the stack. Now, what's also interesting about this is that this plastic packaging is reusable. All of these makeup pots come out. So if you hit pan and you want to replace it or repurchase, when you buy just the pan of makeup, they're usually a few dollars cheaper than buying it for the first time in the packaging. So I love the little sustainability standpoint there. The brand also claims each pot of makeup to last about 2 months with daily use, and these are vegan, cruelty-free, and clean formulas. My first layer is the lip balm. This is just an unflavored, unscented potted lip balm. It has coconut oil, shea butter, and vitamin E, and I just felt like this was kind of a useful layer, especially because when I saw this product and I asked the brand if I could try it out, in my mind, this was definitely more of a travel product versus something that would replace my whole routine. Before I put the concealer on my face, I am just gonna add primer really quickly. I'm using the e.l.f. Sun Touchable Whoa Glow. So this pot of concealer is $14. It comes in 19 shades, which I was pretty impressed with considering this is a smaller brand. And this formula is infused with coffee seed oil to help reduce puffiness. So I got this concealer in the shade 007N, which is a neutral light medium. It's kind of a stiff concealer formula. You need to really warm it up and then you start getting that creamy consistency. The first time I dipped my finger into this, I was like, how am I gonna get this product out? Because it literally just felt solid. But warming it up helps. It is still less creamy than I usually prefer for my concealers, and it does dry down to a somewhat matte natural finish, definitely more on the matte side. Now, as you can see, this is a great shade match for me. There's definitely a really decent amount of coverage you're getting here. Let me show you on some of these darker hyperpigmentation spots that I have. Because of the kind of drier consistency of this concealer, you're definitely gonna want to moisturize and prime underneath. There have been a few times that I just try to put it straight on my bare face for kind of just no makeup spot concealing, and I did not feel that the formula blended into my skin as seamlessly as when I prep my skin. I was really trying to push this stack to see how much I could get away with just using the stack with very, very minimal products outside of it brought in from my collection. So you can see that it blends into my skin pretty well. There aren't obvious borders, in my opinion, to where I have applied the product, which is definitely a plus. So this is the coverage and finish just using the concealer. If I had very casual plans, this would be enough for me. Now, Subtl does sell a translucent powder layer that I did not pick up, but I would very, very, very much recommend setting this cream concealer because of the thicker consistency with powder. Now, I am just gonna put a really light layer of foundation over this. I don't need as much as I would normally apply because that concealer did give me really good coverage, but if we're talking about a full makeup collection and seeing how far this stack would go. I do feel like I would still need a foundation just for my personal preference, but I do know a lot of people who don't like putting foundation on and they really do only use concealer, in which case I feel like this concealer could get the job done. And I am going to lightly set my under eyes. I'm not going to consider this an additional product that I would need to pull in just because they do sell powder and I didn't see it when I was designing my stack. But what they do not have right now is brow product. I feel like it wouldn't be that hard for them to formulate a brow powder layer for the stack. That would make sense, right? Let's talk about bronzer next. This only has 5 shades, and I was a little bit nervous about this decision. This is in the shade Cocoa, but one shade lighter than this looked like it wouldn't show up on my skin tone, and one shade darker looked way too deep for me. However, I do feel like this is slightly too dark and maybe even a little too red toned for my skin. You'll see in a second. I'm just gonna be really, really light with it, knowing that. Now, again, this is a $14 pan. I will say, despite the shade, it does blend out pretty nicely. I just think that it has very red undertones, which makes me kind of nervous about what their other shades look like. Like, doesn't that make me look a little bit orange? I'm not gonna bring this into my face too much. I'm really just keeping it on the outsides. And this is definitely a straight up bronzer. Like, this is not a great shade for me to contour with. For the sake of the video and concept, I am trying to just do that a little bit. So that's where we're at with the bronzer. I mean, it blends really nicely. I wouldn't say it's anything to write home about. It's just an extra functional layer in the stack to complete your collection. Now, I was really excited to test their lip and cheek formula. This is infused with jojoba oil. This is in the shade Terracotta Tour Guide, very much like a warm melon shade. Now, this has a much thinner, slippy consistency versus the concealer, and I totally feel comfortable just tapping this on with my fingers, no need for a brush, and I think it blends really nicely and it's buildable. So as you can see, it's going on pretty light, but noticeable. So I would consider this a very beginner-friendly cream blush. It's not too overwhelming despite looking so bright in the pan. And with this, you are getting a slightly dewy finish. It's not as shiny or wet as, say, the Pixie On The Glow blush stick, because that's what this shade reminds me of. That one makes my skin look wet. This one definitely settles a bit, but you are still getting this glow. So it makes your skin look really bouncy and healthy, and obviously you're getting the benefits from the jojoba oil. Now let's talk about how this works on the lips, because I feel like so many 2-in-1 cheek and lip products, they look great on the cheeks, but then they are always like a little weird on the lips, especially if it's a formula that does dry down a bit, because the finish just isn't right for the lips and it always feels like filmy. This one, I don't get that so much, and I think it is because of the jojoba oil. So as you can see, it does add buildable color. How pretty is that? So nice. I mean, it's definitely the level of, say, a tinted lip balm. I wouldn't say that it is long-term moisturizing. It doesn't necessarily keep my lips moisturized. When you first put it on, it is balmy. It feels good. My lips are really chapped right now. But in a couple hours, I will feel like I need to put on lip balm or a different lip product just because it goes away. So that's the only thing about using this 2-in-1 for both your cheeks and lips. And that's with that lip balm underneath it as well. Like, neither formula, in my opinion, is super long lasting. So I am gonna take this off of my lips, and I would consider lipstick or a lip gloss or a tinted lip balm to be something that I would personally need outside of the stack just because of the formula. Now let's move on to highlighter. Now they do have a cream highlighter formula. I chose to try out the powder one. I do wish that I had picked the cream highlighter. I don't think that they had released it yet when I built this stack, but I just feel like that would kind of retain the glow we have going on with the cream blush. But regardless, this only comes in one shade for the the powder version. There are 3 shades in the cream, but the powder version is just a very nice neutral champagne. This highlight is popping. Really, really nice. You get more of a glow and beam versus shimmer and glitter. The color is gorgeous, and it is a true neutral champagne. It's not too cool, it's not too warm, so I think it's gonna work with a lot of different skin tones and just overall makeup looks in general. Now, this highlighter was $16, so it's one of the more expensive layers in the stack. But I will say, I wanted to point out that they have pre-made stack bundles. So if you're kind of overwhelmed with like what you might need or just picking out all the shades individually, you can get one of their pre-built bundles. You just have to choose your concealer shade so that it matches you. And they offer discounts if you do a pre-made one, which is kind of cool. So anyway, big fan of the highlight. I think that looks beautiful on the skin. Even layered on top of the cream blush, it still looks nice and it blended well and not patchy. Last but not least, in my stack, I have my Eyeshadow Duo. Wait, what? What happened? Okay, cautionary tale. One of the rings that secures the pans into the packaging fell out. That is concerning, but I mean, like I mentioned, these are supposed to be interchangeable pans, so they are supposed to come out, but not like fly out. Okay, I'm pressing as hard as I can, but there's no like click or anything. Come on. Okay, well, we're just gonna move on, but that is a very interesting thing to note. As I was saying, the eyeshadow duos are $18. Again, they make the claim that this is supposed to last you 2 months with everyday use, and there are 5 duo shade options. Now, here's where I guess the brutal comes in for this brutally honest review. The brand makes the claim that these eyeshadows are crease proof and fade proof all day. And when I hear that claim from a brand, what I'm hearing is that on their own, these will last and I don't have to use a primer, which would make sense for a product like this where you're not trying to bring in a bunch of extra products. However, I tried several different days and each time I wore this on my bare lid, they creased. So personally, for me, I do still need a primer with these eyeshadows. Now, holding this carefully, this duo is called Dune. We get a brown and sort of a taupey bronze. I thought that this would be like the most versatile shade selection. So I'm gonna apply I'm so nervous about this falling out now. I'm gonna apply the shimmer shade first all over the lid, which is something that I do a lot with taupes and bronzes anyway. I'll just blend them all over the lid for a little bit of a smoky glow. And whether or not you want to use a brush, these also blend really nicely with your fingers. They are very silky, super, super easy to work with. And yeah, with the primer, it looks great all day. I particularly have oily lids, especially like in my inner corner, and these did not, these lost the battle to the oil. If they hadn't made those claims, I would have had a really, really good first impression of this eyeshadow. Super gorgeous, one and done shade. And I love shades like this where I can just blend them all over my lid and it gives just enough dimension to my look without needing to juggle a bunch of different shades. Now, we do not have an eyeliner option from this brand. You know, I could maybe see them doing a gel eyeliner pot. Maybe that could be something they do in the future, but we do have this matte brown. So I'm gonna use that as a powder liner. I wish this brown was just a smidge darker for this purpose specifically, because there's not a ton of contrast between this brown and the taupe when it's blended out. Okay, I feel like I was able to build it up to make a little more impact and have more contrast, and I think this looks fine. Now, of course, we do not have a mascara in the stack, so I'm just gonna add my own. Also, just wanna share with you, I just got this new eyelash curler. I know it is so simple and it looks like a normal run-of-the-mill eyelash curler, but it really does the most for my straight lashes. It's from a brand called Japonesque. How do I say that? I do not know, but this is great. I'm just gonna add my Wet n Wild Big Papa mascara. You know what I'm gonna do, since I did get the powder highlight, that essentially gives me a third eyeshadow. I am gonna pop that in my inner corner and brow bone. I feel like that'll just kind of polish up this eye look and make it look more complete. Yeah, that was a good little cherry on top moment. So as I said earlier, the lip and cheek, while in theory that would help me complete this look, the lip is just not long-term comfortable for me. So I'm gonna go in with my Moira Signature Lipstick. This is in the shade Natural Look. This has vegan squalane and mango seed butter in it, and it is intensely hydrating. I mean, you can see how much shine it gives my lips. This is like $7, $7.50, and I also have the 15% off code, which is just /beauty. Let me know if you want a video swatching these, because I have almost the entire collection. That feels so good. And it complements the look perfectly. Now, personally, for my combo skin type, I don't really like to set my makeup all over with powder, especially if I've used a cream blush, because that just takes away from the whole point of cream blush and having that like radiant finish. So I am gonna go in with a setting spray. This is the Wet n Wild Natural Finish setting spray. With the setting spray, I find that the blush hangs in there really well. It doesn't fade really noticeably. It doesn't get splotchy. When I've tested it without setting spray, I do see it fade a bit throughout the day, but it never looks patchy or anything. But again, this is sort of my drier area. I do have combo skin, so I'm not applying that blush to my oily areas. If you do have oily skin, I would probably suggest using like a mattifying primer. All right, so here is the finished look. Super happy with how everything came together. Now, obviously we used everything in the stack, and then I pulled in 4 additional products. So I had my foundation, my brow pencil, my mascara, and then the extra lipstick, just because I'm picky. And then if you really want to get discerning, I had my sunscreen primer. So in theory, this could be my entire travel makeup collection, or if you're a minimalist, this could be your entire makeup collection. If you were to buy this exact stack and choose all of the layers that I did, this would cost you $90, and they do offer free shipping. And like I said, it comes with a free brush, which I actually didn't use in this video. It's hidden under the last layer. And that comes with the free mirror lid. Do we think that's worth it? Considering this is 6 to 7 steps in your makeup routine, is $90 reasonable? Personally, I do feel that this price is comparable to similar vegan and clean drugstore brands. Like if you're comparing it to, say, Honest Beauty or Physicians Formula, then it's on par. But obviously there are steps in this stack that I could definitely get a lot cheaper. So I'm really curious, would you use this? Do you think this could replace most of the steps in your makeup routine, or would this just be sort of a travel companion for you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Today's shout out goes to Gemini Glitters. Thanks for being a member of the Slashed Squad, and join me over in this video next where I do a cool tone drugstore makeup look using products $10 and under. I'll see you over there. Bye.